All right, let's just jump right in. We're about to pull back the curtain on these invisible psychological forces that are, believe it or not, quietly running our lives. And the crazy thing is, the people pulling the strings are often the ones we love and trust the most.
I know, it sounds completely backward, doesn't it? But really getting this one idea is the key to figuring out why so many of us feel so stuck. So how on earth does love turn into a cage? Let's unpack that.
Okay, so the whole thing really boils down to this concept called normative influence. At its heart, it's just that deep-seated need to fit in, to go along with the crowd. You can think of it like the invisible bars of a prison, built out of everyone else's opinions and expectations. It's that constant nagging pressure to just not make waves. Now, let's look at the first bit of wiring that builds this cage. Imagine for a second that your mind is a computer, but it's running on some seriously old software, a program that was installed way back when you were a kid. Well, in psychology, they call that program the introject. What this really means is you've got this kind of ghost of a super important person, usually a parent, living inside your head. And this isn't just a memory, okay? It's an active, running script that's dictating your behavior, how you talk to yourself, and even what you think you're capable of. So if that parent was really critical, guess what? You've got a harsh inner critic now. And this right here perfectly shows the internal battle that's going on. It's a total tug of war. On one side, you've got your authentic voice, what you genuinely want. And on the other, you have the introject script, that borrowed code telling you what you should be doing. And honestly, the very first step to rewriting any of that code is just realizing that critical voice, it isn't really yours. So, that internal script is one thing, but it's not the whole story. See, that script gets amplified, turned up to 11 by this incredibly intense external pressure. Our deep, almost primal need to be accepted by our tribe. And that brings us to the second trap, conformity. You've got to hear about this classic experiment, the Ash study. It shows just how bonkers this pressure is. They put one real person in a room full of actors. Then they showed them a simple line and asked them to match it to one of 3 other lines. A super easy task. But then, all the actors would confidently give the same totally wrong answer. And get this, about 75% of the real participants went along with the wrong answer at least once, just to avoid the awkwardness of disagreeing. It's just a mind-blowing look at our desire to fit in.
So let's bring this home to you, to your life. If we're willing to do that with a room full of strangers, how much more powerful is that pressure when it's coming from your family, your partner, your closest friends? I mean, really think about it. Are you dimming your own light just to keep things harmonious for everybody else? And the cage gets even stronger with this third piece of the puzzle. It's something we can call the invisible debt. And this is one of the most powerful and yet most overlooked social rules that dictates how we act. We are absolutely hardwired to pay people back. When someone does something for us, gives us a gift, helps us out, whatever, we feel this deep, almost overwhelming need to return the favor. It's basically the glue that holds our entire social world together. But here's the twist. Here's where it becomes a trap. Our loved ones can use this rule, often without even realizing it. All the love, the support, the care they've poured into you over the years, it starts to feel like a massive debt you owe them. And that feeling makes it almost impossible to say no to their expectations for your life because you feel like you're betraying them if you do. Your future feels blocked by this sense of obligation. And this leads us to a really tough but critical reframing of the situation. You aren't being loyal, you're being manipulated. That feeling of owing them everything isn't necessarily a sign of your deep loyalty. It could just be a powerful social norm that's being used, intentionally or not, to keep you in your place. And I know that is a hard pill to swallow, but seeing it for what it is can be the first step to freedom. All right, this fourth mechanism is maybe the sneakiest of them all because it operates completely under the radar of our conscious mind. It's our automatic biological instinct to become like the people around us. It's the chameleon's trap.
Yeah, scientists actually call this the chameleon effect. You know how you start using the same slang as your friends, or you unconsciously cross your legs when they do? That's it. We subconsciously copy the body language, the speech patterns, even the moods of people we're with. It just helps things go smoothly, builds connection. But here is the huge, massive danger in that. Your brain doesn't filter. It doesn't know the difference between a good habit and a bad one. So if your social circle is kind of stagnant, uninspired, not really going anywhere,
your brain will automatically start to mimic that behavior just to stay in sync. You stop growing simply because they stopped growing. Okay, so we've basically drawn a blueprint of this invisible cage. We've talked about the inner scripts, the pressure to conform, the invisible debts, and the mimicry. So the million-dollar question is, how do we get out? Well, the key isn't to rattle the bars. The key is to change the one thing you have 100% control over, your mindset. This is where you take back the controls. The single biggest change you can make is shifting from an external to an internal locus of control. It's the difference between believing that life just happens to you, blaming your family, your luck, whatever, and believing that you make life happen. You stop being a passenger in your own life and you grab the steering wheel. This is the absolute core of it all. You have to become the owner of your actions. It means taking radical, no excuses responsibility for your choices, your thoughts, your reactions. It means finally realizing that you and no one else are in the driver's seat. Your future is not written by your past or by what other people think. And I just love this metaphor. For a long time, maybe you've been living like a janitor in a house someone else designed. You're just tidying up, maintaining their vision for your life. It's comfortable, sure, but it's not yours. The goal is to walk out that front door and start building your own house from the foundation up. And you've got to let this one really sink in deep. You are not that nagging voice in your head, and you are absolutely not the sum of other people's expectations. All of those layers, the scripts, the pressures, the roles you play, they're just learned habits. They aren't the real you. Who you really are is something much deeper. It's the quiet observer. It's the consciousness that's aware of all the thoughts and all the feelings without being swept away by them. That awareness? That's your real superpower. And this, right here, is the ultimate takeaway. The second you can actually see the pattern, the moment you can name these psychological forces for what they are, they start to lose their grip on you. Awareness is the key that unlocks the whole thing. So I'll leave you with this one question to really chew on. When you look at your life, at your choices, at your dreams, who is actually doing the looking? Is it really you, or is it the ghost in the machine?